about medieval Jewish seals can be found in Daniel Friedenberg's book. A page from the Erna Michel Haggadah of 1400, Jeremiah 10:25. Sigmund Freud's 20th century Haggadah. Born in Vienna, the artist lives in Brooklyn. 15th century Book of Dogmas of Joseph Albo from Florence, Italy, with white scroll borders and rich Renaissance illumination. A page from the Rothschild Miscellany of Ferrara, Italy, 1485, can be seen at the Israel Museum, Jerusalem today. A cooking pot of 1582, Frankfurt am Main, cast bronze, chased and hammered. It belonged to Hertz Popper's wife. It is sad to think that objects like that have survived when people have not. A Hebrew astrolabe for Jewish sailors who went from Spain to North Africa. It was made in 1300 in brass with Hebrew-Arabic inscriptions. Sixteenth century. A medal of Benjamin, son of Elihu Be'er, the physician, from 1504. Now it is in a Paris and Marseille museum in France. A bronze medal of Dona Gracia Nassi Mendes of 1558. She went from Italy to Istanbul, Turkey, and was welcomed by the Sultan. She controlled Jewish and Muslim funds and helped endangered Jews fleeing from the Spanish Inquisition. These are ceramic letters from the Isfahan synagogue in Iran, circa 1550. They are Torah scroll niches with faience tiles in the Jewish Museum of New York today. Early Hebrew printing by Daniel Bomberg of Venice. A Christian, he printed the Babylonian Talmud in 1519. Talmud means study or learning and refers to the opinions, commentaries, and teachings of rabbis and their disciples. A book jacket from an encyclopedia by Eli Gross of Israel in Bomberg style, 20th century Jerusalem. Christian Hebraists. Hebrew was as essential as Greek in their study of ancient texts. Juan de Isia of Saragossa, Spain, designed this Hebrew for his writing manual in 1450. This is a New Year card by Trudy Kisseloff, New York, 20th century. Palatinus Hebrew and Samaritan pages from 1540 Rome. He provided the name of each letter and its pronunciation in Latin. Wolfgang Fugger's little writing book of 1553. The letters were cut in wood and metal. Fugger was a publisher who hired others to produce his manual. A page from Tagliante's manual, Hebrew, 1524, woodcuts. From 1492 on, Tagliante was the instructor of scribes in the Doge's Santori in Venice. Several of the strokes are broken up by blank spaces as if reproduced by stencil. Hebrew grammar of 1512 by Aldus Manutius of Venice, great printer and type designer. Detail of Hebrew and Latin from Plantin's Polyglot Bible in Antwerp, 1584. Plantin sold his Hebrew types to North Africa. Hebrew type tied up and printed, and a final proof by Guillaume Le Bay, 1566. Also a color photo of the Le Bay font at the Plantin Museum, Antwerp. Dutch Hanukkah lamp, 1574, by Meir Helprin. This is the Hanukkah menorah by Ludwig Yehuda Wolpert, now at the Riverdale Judaica Museum, New York. The glasses for oil came from the labs of the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. 17th century. The old Jewish cemetery in Prague. Memorial gravestone by Emanuel Neubrunn. Born in Vienna, he came to New York. Lettering on the roof of the oldest wooden synagogue in Poland, 1651. This is a list of the month, a Sefer Evronot, of 1640. '18th century. A 1728 prayer book from Nikolsburg, written and illuminated by Samuel Strassnitz. A page from the prayer book from Vienna, 1716, in ink and gouache on vellum. An Amsterdam Purim manuscript in Ashkenazi cursive script. A 1716 calendar with cursive script from Halberstadt by scribe-illustrator Avraham Halevi. This is an engraved cedar plate in pewter, 1790, Germany. And a Barton's chocolate tin box by Ilya Shaw, 20th century. Here you see a coffee service from Staffordshire, England, 1769. The set consists of a tray, a coffee pot, a pitcher, a waste bowl, and a sugar bowl. Rosh Hashanah plate for apples and honey to make the New Year sweet by Chava Wolpert Richard, 20th century. A marriage contract of 1648 from Rotterdam, Holland, copper engraved on parchment. A marriage contract from Trieste, Italy, from 1724. '19th century. This is a burial society picture from 1836 from Moravia, Czechoslovakia. And here we have a wedding sofa of 1838, probably from Danzig. A shop sign for a Polish tailor's guild emblem. A Hebrew typecase. A Torah shield from Australia, 1851. A Torah breastplate embroidered with metal thread by Rabbi Ezekiel Sofer. Persian Sheviti. A Sheviti is a votive tablet and prayer in the direction of the temple site in Jerusalem. On the left, arms box from Danzig, 19th century. On the right, Moshe Tzabari's arms box, 20th century. A Purim scroll from Morocco, 19th century. Moroccan amulets in Tel Aviv's Folklore Museum, 19th and 20th century. Handwriting. A responsa letter from rabbi, philosopher, physician, and author Maimonides, found in the Cairo Geniza, 12th century. A letter from Yehuda Halevi, the poet, found in the Cairo Geniza. This is a Provençal cursive script from 1419, the ethical will of Isaac Solomon of Arles, France. Cursive writing of 1716 in the Halberstadt Almanac. A letter from Budapest, 1840. A letter from Israel's Foreign Minister Moshe Sharet to Ben-Gurion in 1955. Embroidery. Torah binder called Wimpel from 1762 on linen with silk thread from Schmalkalden, Germany, used for births or weddings. A page from an instruction book for Yemenite embroidery for the Bezalel Art School, Jerusalem, 20th century. This is a tablecloth from Alsace-Lorraine, 19th century. A quilted tapestry by Lydia Egosi, 20th century. Paintings. Raphael, 1516. Rembrandt's painting of Moses. Chagall's painting of a Jewish cemetery. Samuel Bach, born in Germany, went to Israel in 1938. In his last years, he mostly painted the Hebrew alphabet. This is a painting of the synagogue by Felix Nussbaum, who portrays himself during his bar mitzvah on this picture. He was one of the artists who was included in the degenerate art exhibit by the Nazis, and he died in concentration camp. But today there is a Nussbaum museum in the city he was born in Germany. Mordechai Ardon, former director of the Bezalel Art School, created these alphabet paintings, and this is one of a series. Twentieth century. A Haggadah by Ben Shahn, painter, illustrator, photographer. A Haggadah by Leonard Baskin, sculptor and illustrator. A photo of the Bezalel Art School class for ornamental writing, Jerusalem, 1930. Instructor Yerachmiel Schechter, born in Galicia. Book jacket by Schechter, who lived from 1900 to 1989. The cover of a Berlin magazine of 1922 called Rimon. The masthead was designed by Franziska Baruch, who was born in Hamburg. She wrote the text for Jacob Steinhardt's Haggadah and his book of Jonah and Ruth. For the Schocken publishers, she designed a special typeface only used by them. A book jacket by Franziska Baruch for a book by William James. Franziska lived from 1901 to 1989. Hebrew square letters by Rothschild from a book on Hebrew writing by Heinze and Blankert in Berlin in the 1920s. And this is a double spread from the same book from this early 20th century manual. Book jackets. The following are by Ellie Gross, 20th Century Jerusalem. Shoah, Holocaust. Covers for Atidot, Youth Magazine. Mishnah, the book covering the oral law. Torah, Prophets, and Writings. Nature and Spirit. Ben Shan, Alphabet of Creation. Ben Shan, Today is the Birthday of the World, 1955. Postal stamps. This is an Israeli alphabet stamp set with early Sinaitic letters around margins of the stamps. Israeli alphabet on education. The 50th anniversary of the Hebrew Writers Association. Bereshit means in the beginning, the first words of the Bible, on a Sonchinu stamp celebrating 500 years of Hebrew printing. First printing press in the Holy Land, Swat, 1577. Signs. Shop sign, Futura style. Antique shop sign. Shaman sign. Popolo pizza sign. Food. Osem alphabet chicken soup package. Dutch chocolate letters. 2 chocolate bar package designs. Currency. 18th century United States paper money using Hebrew letters to avoid forgery. Look for them in the corners, they're small. Israeli paper money with a portrait of Baron Rothschild, 20th century. Letters in stone. Eric Gill, British sculptor, illustrator, and typographer, designed the type Gill Hebrew with Roman serifs, and the letters for the Rockefeller Archaeological Museum also with Roman serifs. Yeshiva University Foundation stone of 1927. This is to show weak, flabby, bad forms. the sign for the Diaspora Museum in Tel Aviv. Huge letters on the Yad Vashem wall at the Holocaust Museum in Jerusalem. Books, marriage contracts, greeting cards. Dr. Siegfried Guggenheim, a lawyer from Offenbach, Germany, was the patron of Rudolf Koch and his workshop. He commissioned the Offenbacher Haggadah, carpets and Passover ritual objects for his home. He was in a concentration camp but was released and came to New York. There he commissioned a new edition of the Haggadah in 1960. The image shows Dr. and Mrs. Guggenheim in their Flushing home with their guests Lily and Eric Ronker, who only got their noses into the photo. Wall hanging with Grace After Meals by Berthold Wolpe. German Hebrew tapestry by Rudolf Koch, the Hebrew design by Berthold Wolpe. Passover scene, Offenbacher Haggadah, illustrations by Fritz Kredel, colored with stencils by Pochoir Process.